How can you deduct your mobile phone and internet expenses in your company? What rules should you follow and what should you look out for? Stay tuned and we will discuss all the details on today's episode.
Welcome, dear listener. It's been another week, and we are back with the Business Lesson in Denmark podcast. I'm joined virtually by Katalin Balogh, and I'm Rezső Almási. Hi, Kati.
Hi.
In the previous episode, we talked about what is a business expense and what costs can be deducted. You mentioned the administrative costs, such as phone and internet, and I was wondering after the show that I use my private mobile for business purposes as well. Can I somehow deduct these costs in the company?
Well, it's possible. There are just a few things you have to consider because there are certain rules to follow.
I knew it wouldn't be as easy as I first expected. So what are the rules?
First of all, the rules of expense accounting obviously apply to phone bills also. So the bill must be in your company's name.
Then I need a company subscription for the phone, not a private one, because that way the bill will be for the company name. Am I right?
Yes, you are right. Secondly, you need to define how much your phone is used for business purposes and how much is used for private purposes.
Oh, how can I define that?
You need to estimate roughly what the ratio is. Do you use about 50% for business and 50% for private use, or is it more like 80% and 20%, or is it 20% and 80% or something else? You need to really think it over and find a ratio that is an estimate but still realistic, and if necessary, you can back it up.
Well, I think it's about 50-50% for me. I call clients quite a lot, but I also call my wife during the day, and of course I also talk to the kids on the phone quite often.
Yeah, that's totally fine. This split is necessary because although you can deduct 100% of the phone bill as an expense, you have to split the VAT between business and private use. And you can only claim the VAT on the business use.
Really? Even though I have a business subscription, I cannot claim back the full VAT on the bill?
Unfortunately not. If there is a private use, VAT can never be reclaimed in full. VAT on business use can be, but VAT on private use, unfortunately, may not. This comes from the basic concept of VAT itself, and we talked about this earlier in our episode on VAT, which, if my notes here are correct, was episode 16.
Well, that's good to know. Is there any other rule about the phone?
Yes. The fact that you have the phone with you at home and you can use it for private purposes is considered by the rules as a financial benefit. And this is regardless of whether you actually use it for private purposes or not. If you have a mobile phone and you take it home, the tax rules already take that as a benefit because you have the possibility to use it for private purposes.
I see. And I assume that this means that I have to pay tax on the phone, right?
Right, exactly. Each year, the tax office determines the value of this benefit. For this year, 2024, it's 3,200 crowns, and this means that you have to increase your tax base by 3,200 crowns because of the phone.
Oh, that's not the best news. But if someone has an expensive subscription, it might still be worth it.
Yeah. I read once that someone did the maths to figure out the exact monthly subscription fee where it makes sense to pay for the phone through the company. It's a bit complicated to calculate it precisely, But basically, if you have a really cheap subscription or use a prepaid phone and pay around 100 or 150 crowns a month, then it's not worth claiming it as a business expense, even if you use it a lot for work.
Oh, so because of the extra taxes, I would end up losing more than I gain, right?
Yeah.
So it's better if I just pay for the phone out of my own pockets.
Exactly. But if you want to buy an expensive phone and get a business subscription for it, which might not be the cheapest one, then it's probably worth paying it through your company. Of course, only if you actually use your phone for business purposes, but most business owners do, after all.
Well, as I mentioned, I use my mobile a lot for my business. New clients reach on me on it. I arrange jobs over the phone, access my business email during the day, and so on. And what about the internet? Can I also deduct the internet costs?
If you use internet in your office or photo studio, you can fully deduct the monthly fee as a business expense, and you can also deduct the VAT since it's clearly for business use and separate from your private life. At home, you have your private internet, and in your photo studio, you have your business internet.
That's great news. Well, I don't rent an office yet. I'm still running the company from home now. I've been planning to open a photo studio, but I haven't had time to look for available spaces yet. So I think I cannot deduct the cost of my home internet subscription, even though I use it for business purposes, right?
Actually, you can. If you run your business from home, you can fully deduct the cost of your internet connection.
That's good to hear. I guess the bill needs to be in the company's name, but I like that I can deduct it. But when I have the studio and only work from home occasionally, can I still deduct the home internet as an expense?
If you can access the same network infrastructure at home as you do in the studio, then you can still deduct it.
But what does it mean?
For example, if you have a server in your studio where you store your photos or client data and documents, you need to be able to access that from home as well.
You are thinking big, Kati. I like it very much. But what if that condition isn't met? What if I can't access the company's network from my home internet?
Then you will have to pay taxes on the internet.
So I will have to increase my tax base by 2 times 3.2 thousand crowns?
Not necessarily. If you are already paying taxes on the phone, then you don't need to do it again for the internet, as it covers both. But if you don't have a company phone and want to pay for the internet through your business, then you will need to increase your tax base by 3,200 crowns in 2024 for the internet, assuming your internet doesn't meet the previously mentioned conditions.
Okay, that's a relief. And what about the VAT for the internet? Can I also deduct that?
Yes, but just like with the phone, you can only deduct the VAT in proportion to the business use. So in case of home internet, you will need to split the VAT between business and private use. And you can only deduct the VAT that applies to the business use.
All clear, Kati. Thanks for the information. I think that's all questions for now, but I have your phone number, so I will call you if I think of anything else. By the way, will that call count as business use?
Yes, because you called regarding your business operations. Plus, the invoice you will receive from me can also be deducted as a business expense.
Okay, double jackpot. Do you know, Kati, what topic are we going to talk about next week?
Next week, we will cover how to deduct expenses related to work clothes.
Great. I've been planning to upgrade my wardrobe anyway.
Oh, really? All right, let's talk about that next Monday.
All right. Dear listener, thank you for your attention today. If you don't want to miss the next episode, subscribe to our YouTube channel, or follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcast. The Business Lessons in Denmark podcast is brought to you by Cool Accounts APS. If you want to take your business to the next level, then contact us through our website www.accounts.cool. We wish you a successful week.